Hey, how's it going? So in the I'm gonna link the video in description below to I'm replying technically to this video. So I did very similar analysis and I arrived at the same almost the same conclusion as the guy in the video. Only he focuses more on technical aspects. I focus more on fundamentals, right? I like to look at macroeconomics and company performance. So I'll give you my 2 cents on this. So we're gonna go through analysts. So let's just do this. So we're gonna go through analysts, company performance, money on the market, GDP forecasts, biggest funds, and who is buying them, right? Well, this is pension funds. Pension funds, right? Now this is huge. This is huge. I'll explain when we get there. And then super investors purchases. Okay. So let's do analysts, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to go into Nasdaq, right? So we can pick any Nasdaq fund. Most of them are similar. I picked BlackRock, right? Then we go to, we can actually do it from here. Holdings, right? You go holdings, all holdings, right? And I took out anything that is over 1%. Okay, so up to Honeywell, I went, right? Now, this is all the data I have now here, right? So these are all the companies. And we're gonna punch them one by one into the Giro. So the Giro is a broker and they have very nice, you see analysts view. So what they do is they pull data together from a lot of resources and they give you an overall view whether you should buy stock or not. Now these are all technical analysts. I don't think they're fundamental analysts. Could be technical. I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research on this, but again, look at this. Look at this, right? So Apple is a buy, right? Apple is a buy. Let's do Microsoft. Analyst view. You see, it's a buy again. Let's look at Amazon. So what are we looking? Why are we looking at Amazon, Microsoft, blah blah? Because they are the key holdings in Nasdaq. These companies make up for 60%, like 50 or 60% of the fund. So if these companies go down in value, the fund is just gonna go down in value, right? If these companies are performing well, vice versa, right? So we need to look at the fundamental company performance. What do analysts say about Amazon? And the rating is in here. You click on analyst view and you see they're saying buy again. Okay, so meta platforms, they will be Facebook, right? Meta platforms. Now you can register a free account on the Giro. I mean, you don't have to invest anything, but you can, just for your information. Again, you see buy. So we have, I already kind of did that step by step because I was doing the analysis. So we have almost everything is buy, absolutely everything. The only companies that you have, they're called outperform and hold. So outperform means they're gonna probably do well better than the forecast. So you want to either outperform them or hold them, right? So I'll give you an example of Texas Instruments, right? Texas Instruments, there they are, analyst view. You see, so the closer it is to buy, the better, and the more it is to the right, the worse it is, right? So currently, it's outperform or hold. Not a single one of them, not a single one of them said you should sell the stock. Not a single. Like I went through every single one of them, and most of them are in buy category, right? So if you take analysts from the world and say, what do you think about Nasdaq companies? They're gonna say buy them ASAP, right? So therefore, because these companies make up the fund, you can say that buying Nasdaq, you have to buy Nasdaq ASAP, right? So that's the first argument, right? So we covered this. All right, so we're gonna do We'll make it just small so we know we've done it, right? Okay, so next thing we need to look at is fundamentally, because analysts sometimes they speculate, we want to say, okay, is the foundation of the company good? So is the company revenue growing? Is net income growing, right? So we do exactly the same. I already did that, right? We go through, for example, Apple. We go into financials, right? And here we can see revenue, net income, and other wonderful things. Okay, 6-year all-time record. 6-year all-time record. Apple, right? I should have it 6 years because I for some reason thought it was 5. I just okay. So we'll look at financials again. You see, 6-year all-time record, both for revenue and for net income. You can see stuff in here like gross profits, operating income, but I look mostly on revenue and net income. Again, 6-year all-time record. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon.com, real quick, financials, right? Again, 6-time all-time record. I'm not gonna go through every single one because the video is gonna be too long, right? But you can see that most of them are on a run page. Like all of them are, and you have to factor in that this data is without factoring in quarter 4, because quarter 4 results have not come out yet. So they are already record high without factoring in the last quarter. So you can say that this is God mode, absolutely God mode, right? So just based on that alone, you should buy, right? Because the companies are just going on a rampage. All right, so money on the market, right? So this is important one. So what was I going to show here? Yeah, I was going to show, I'm gonna pause and I'm just gonna Google it real quick. Yeah, I just had to pause because I forgot the word. It's called stimulus package per country. All right. So in middle of 2000, well, beginning to mid 2021, right? The globally countries injected funds into the market in their country. So United States, was like 2 trillion, right? United Kingdom, 18% of the gross domestic product. So you have to factor in how much money went into the marketplace, right? And this money is still there, right? It's not going to disappear. It's going to circulate in the economy, all right? So that's why you see an astronomical rise in demand for goods and services, because people have an obscene amounts of money. Now, we're bottlenecked by the supply chain, which is bottlenecked by the COVID, right? But demand and expenditure is there, right? This money is going to be on the market for 5 and 10 years from now, right? So you have to factor in that, right? Economies are booming, right? Economies are booming as a result, right? So this leads us to the next GDP forecast, right? So if we look at GDP forecast, we go to OECD. That's one of my favorite sources. I like IMF and OECD. If you look at the forecast of gross domestic product, everything is looking pretty good, right? Just look at like 2022, right? Look, forecast is good, right? Gross domestic product is rising. We can also look at another big thing that impacts. I'm actually gonna put it in here. Unemployment rates, right? Because unemployment rate has 1-to-1 correlation. I'm actually going to show it to you. I found this very nice article. Unemployment rate. One sec, let me pause. Okay, so here's the article, right? Over 20 years, S&P and unemployment rate. Now, when you study S&P, you kind of study Nasdaq as well, because Nasdaq is 100 tech and bio and communication companies out of an S&P. So Everything that applies to S&P is kind of applies to Nasdaq as well, because they're very, very similar, right? Very, very similar. So as you can see, right, as unemployment rate, right, as unemployment rate increases, stock starts to drop. As it decreases, stock starts to increase, right? So unemployment rate has very, very positive correlation. Well, it has direct correlation with stock. Normally, if the stock rises, unemployment rate drops, right? Vice versa, okay? So at the moment, we're experiencing stock is falling and unemployment rate is falling. That is not normal. That is not normal, right? What that tells me is that the market is going crazy for no reason whatsoever, because historically speaking, if unemployment rate drops, market should rise, right? And we already looked at fundamentals, which say that the companies are just booming with money. It's just they're booming, revenues growing, gross domestic product we're going to touch on as well. But if you look at US unemployment rate, you see it's falling. Joe Biden set a record, absolute record, in his first year for job creation, right? If you look at stats for Europe, again, historically the lowest unemployment. Okay, so unemployment rate and gross domestic product were already covered. All right, so that is very, very good. And the rest are kind of yeah, these are big things you have to factor in, right? You have to factor in, okay, so there is retail people who just buy and sell stock, right? And then there are pension funds and super investors who also buy it, right? So what we can do is we can look at one sec, I'll just find. Yeah, so I found it. So what are the biggest pension funds and mutual funds in the world? All right, so we look at the top biggest mutual funds. Number one is this one here, Vanguard, whatever the name is, blah blah blah, right? Now if we go to this fund and we look at the holdings of this fund, now you have to factor in, when they say the biggest fund in the world, that means pension funds are just throwing money at it, right? Because everybody's buying it basically, right? So if we look at portfolio, right, look at top holdings: Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Tesla, Facebook, Nvidia, right? Top 7 companies are all Nasdaq companies. If you look at Nasdaq, it's exactly them. All right. So you have to factor in, even if people are gonna start going on a rampage of selling good funds like index funds, right? The pension funds will continue to buy them. All right, because they are already doing it. All right, so you can look at. I'll just leave this link in the description below. Then there is S&P index fund, right? So again, we can just very quickly have a look at it, right? Fund fact sheet. Let me just pause real quick to find the data for you. So here's the fund, right? Here's the fund. So this is second biggest in the world. Second biggest in the world. And again, top holdings: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Tesla, Google, Facebook, Nvidia, and the rest, right? Again, it's exactly the same companies as in Nasdaq. So they're gonna be for sure buying it. For sure. Right? Let me make another note, one second. Yeah, I added current holders, so we're gonna touch on that as well. All right, so back to the biggest funds. All right, so you can see them in here. Um, link in description. All right, so that's gonna be in description. And another one I wanted to talk about is the where is it? One second. Yeah, so the biggest pension fund in America is called Calpers, right? It's like California something something. Yeah, they are the biggest pension fund in America, right? So you can imagine how much money they have, right? It's astronomical, astronomical. So we want to look at what are their top holdings. And if you look at their top holdings, you will see something very, very cool, right? Again, it's the same companies. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Johnson Johnson, Verizon Communications is also in Nasdaq, Pepsi is also in Nasdaq, right? Tesla is also in Nasdaq, Adobe is also in Nasdaq, right? So the biggest fund in America, pension fund in America, is guaranteed on monthly or weekly basis to buy these companies, right? Which are Nasdaq companies. They make up majority of Nasdaq. So again, I'm going to tell you, if the people are going on a rampage, selling good funds, selling companies that are absolutely like taking it to the next level when it comes to performance on the market, right? These funds are gonna buy them. So you have to think, why do these like those humongous investors are trying to spook people and do doom and gloom? Number one, right? Number one. Actually, I'm gonna put it in here. Why big investors want you to sell? I'm gonna talk about it later, right? So that's gonna be my cliffhanger. To be continued. Subscribe to my channel for more. No, I'm just messing. So you can rely on the biggest funds to continue to buy this fund. So the fund can go down in value, but not too much, right? Because the humongous pension funds are all buying it, right? Okay, so super investor purchases. This is very easy, right? What do super investors, like we're talking the billionaires of the billionaires, what are they holding? You can go to this website, Data Roma. You can go at, what can we do? Maybe Grand Portfolio. Honestly, I like to look at S&P grid, right? So in here, this will show you the most held companies by super investors. And again, what do we see? We see Facebook, Google, Microsoft. Well, Visa is not part of Amazon, okay? Comcast, MasterCard is not. Booking Holding, part of Nasdaq, okay? Disney, I think, is part of Nasdaq as well, right? Oracle, part of Nasdaq as well, okay? So again, what do we see? We see exactly the same companies. So the pension funds are buying it, right? The super investors are buying it. All the big boys are buying it, right? So I'm telling you, it's the purchase. That's why you should buy it, right? Okay, so we covered this. Current holders, right? So this is real quick. We can go into, let's say, Amazon, right? And you can go into ownership. And what do you see? You see the big pension funds are holding them. Vanguard, BlackRock, right? Wall Street, Fidelity. And you can check like all of them like this, right? Again, Vanguard, that's Warren Buffett's company. BlackRock, State Street, Fidelity. This is Swedish banks. This is the Norge. So this is Nordics, right? So if this was a bad stock, if Nasdaq companies were a bad stock, surely no one would buy it, right? Did we check Microsoft? I think the first one was Amazon, right? You see again, I mean, Vanguard and BlackRock are huge. BlackRock has like BlackRock Wiki assets under, I think they're like 10 trillion in assets under management, right? Yeah. Just the sheer size of this company, right? What is their assets under management? Yeah, assets under management 10 trillion. And what are they buying? What is BlackRock buying? They are buying this, right? That's what they're buying. And if you don't believe me, check it yourself. There they are. Okay. Vanguard is the same. Vanguard is a little bit smaller. Wiki, I think there would be like 7 trillion. Yeah, 7.1 trillion. There you go, you see? And again, what are they buying? They are buying the Nasdaq companies because technology is the future. You have to factor in that Internet of Things is going to start, right? 5G is going to start, emerging markets, emerging economies, because poverty right now is falling. So emerging markets will have money, and what are they going to buy? They going to buy smartphones, they're going to buy websites, they're going to buy e-commerce stuff, right? Social media stuff, like all that. That's what they're going to buy. And who is responsible for maintaining all of this? These companies, right? And we know that. Okay. So now that's another point. All of these points I'm trying to tell you to do not panic, right? The stock market is not going to crash, right? And you should buy it right now. You should buy Nasdaq right now. Now it's like there, like last week was the time to buy it, because I'm telling you, you should invest all the time, because these companies are going to take you to the next level. All right. Okay, so this is the big point I want to talk about. Why big investors want you to sell? I'm talking about those doom and gloom people who are like, oh, you need to, you need to, like the recession is coming, blah blah blah. Number one, you have to remember these people are short sellers. All right, they have certain level of followers and influencers that they can manipulate, like I don't know, like a herd of sheep, right? So they say go left, all of them in swarms go left. They say go right, they in swarms go right. All right. So why is it profitable for them to tell their swarm to sell? Because when you're selling, you can see that the prices is dropping, right? So first, they're gonna short the stock. Shorting means they are betting on the fact that it's going to decrease in value, and if they are right, they're going to make an obscene amount of money, right? So one side they'll tell you sell it because they're holding shorts, right? They're called options, they're called shorts, right? So everybody starts selling. Now they're making money on shorts. On another side, they are buying it themselves, right? So now not only are they making money on shorts, they're also making money on um, buying a good stock at a bargain. That's why they're telling you this. Because there was a dude. Um, 1 second, I'm gonna pause. I'll show you. I'll just show you the example. I'll show you the example. Okay, so I found the data, right? So I'm gonna link it in the description below, right? So I'll give you an example from last year, 2001, right? So this guy, there's the video. Look at the date, January 22, exactly the same date as today, only 1 year. He says next crash will rival 1920, right? And he was saying that quarter one, quarter two, 2021 is gonna be the crash. Okay, so that's the guy who is doom and glooming you, right? He's saying, "Oh my God, sell everything, sell your house, live in a bunker." Okay, this is what he says publicly. Now, if you look at his behavior, you can go to his website, Cheaper Than Guru, right? Go to, go find his name, very easy. Boom, there he is, right? You look at performance, right, and scroll down, and you can see his buying and selling behavior. So here he is, right, telling you to sell, while he himself is buying more than he's selling. Does that make sense? If the doom and gloom was coming and he believed in it, there will be no green on these charts. Absolutely no green. Why? Because he will be like, oh my God, I need to sell everything because the whatever crash is coming, right? What did he say? 2000, right? So the dot-com crash is coming, and as you know, in dot-com crash, like stock lost 30 and 40% 2 years in a row, right? And he's saying, yeah, so this year there's gonna be dot-com crash, and I'm gonna just go and buy everything, right? So why is he buying? Because you're selling, and he's getting He's getting the companies at the bargain. We already looked at the companies. They are performing exceptionally well. The pension funds are buying it. Super investors are buying it, right? The gigantic mutual funds are holding them. Their revenue is excellent. Net income is excellent. There is a lot of demand for their services. They are the future. So why do they want you to sell? Again, they want to get it at a discount, right? And of course, we have a new one, which is this year. Again, look at the date, exactly, almost exactly the same date. So this guy was 2001. Now we have another one, Ray Dalio, January 18th. So this is 4 days ago, and he's like, "Oh my God, the coming crash will be worse than 2008." Do you see like the correlation between the titles, right? Next crash will rival 2018. I mean, they're not very creative, right? So again, we'll take this guy. We go cheaper than Guru. Let's see, what is Ray Dalio doing, right? What is he doing? And again, what is he doing? He's buying. Right? Again, if he truly believed that the crash is coming, there would be no green in here. Everything would be like this without anything green, because he would probably sell everything, right? And he's not. He's telling you to sell because he wants to buy it cheap. Okay, so that's about it, right? So these are my kind of main points. I'll link as many. If you need more information, just ask me, because I get an email when people ask me stuff, when people comment. And yeah, so bottom line is you need to buy Nasdaq. That's it. Take care. Oh yeah, and my prediction, middle of February is going to bounce back. So exactly like the guy in the video, what was his name? Daily Market Movements guy, right? So his YouTube channel. I 100% agree with him, right? 100%. Okay, take care.